a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. 1994 Winter Olympics. The 1994 Winter Olympics, officially known as the 17th Olympic Winter Games, was a winter multi-sport event celebrated from 12 to the 27th of February 1994 in and around Lillehammer, Norway. Lillehammer failed to win the bid for the 1992 event, losing to Albertville. Lillehammer was awarded the 1994 Winter Olympics in 1988, after beating Anchorage, United States, Östersund, Sweden, and Sofia, Bulgaria. Lillehammer is the northernmost city to ever host the Winter Games. The Games were the first to be held in a different year from the Summer Olympics, the first and only one to be held 2 years after the previous Winter Games, and the last to be held in a municipality of less than 50,000 people. The Games were the second Winter Olympics hosted in Norway, after the 1952 Winter Olympics in Oslo, and the fourth Olympics in the Nordic countries, after the 1912 Summer Olympics in Stockholm, Sweden, and the 1952 Summer Olympics in Helsinki, Finland. While many events took place in Lillehammer, skating took place in Hamar. Some ice hockey matches were placed in Gjøvik, while alpine skiing was held in Øyer and Ringebu. 67 countries and 1,737 athletes participated in 6 sports and 61 events. 14 countries made their debut in the Winter Olympics, of which 9 were former Soviet republics. The Games also saw the introduction of stricter qualifying rules, reducing the number of underperforming participants from warm weather countries. New events were 2 new distances in short track speed skating and aerials, while speed skating was moved indoors. Nearly 2 million people spectated the Games, which were the first to have the Olympic truce in effect. The Games were succeeded by the 1994 Winter Paralympics from 10 to 19 March. Manuela Decenter and Lyubov Yegorova dominated women's cross-country skiing, taking 5 and 4 medals, respectively. A crowd of over 100,000 saw Italy beat Norway by 0.4 seconds on the men's 4x10 km relay. Vinnie Schneider won a complete set of medals in alpine skiing, while Norway took a medal sweep in the men's combined. Nancy Kerrigan had, before the Games, been clubbed by Tonya Harding's associate, but managed to take silver in ladies singles. Johan Olav Koss won 3 speed skating events, while 13-year-old Kim Yoon-mi became the youngest ever Olympic gold medalist. Sweden beat Canada in a dramatic penalty shootout in the ice hockey final. With 11 gold medals, Russia won the most events, while with 26, Norway collected the most medals overall. Host city selection. Planning of the Lillehammer bid started in 1981, following Falun, Sweden's failed bid for the 1988 Winter Olympics, losing to Calgary respectively. It was supported by the government largely to help stimulate the economy of the inland counties. Lillehammer originally bid for the 1992 Games, but came fourth in the voting, with the Games ultimately awarded to Albertville. In 1986, the International Olympic Committee voted to separate the Summer and Winter Games, which had been held in the same year since the latter's inception in 1924, and arrange them in alternating even-numbered years. A new bid was launched for the 1994 Games, modified, with an indoor speed skating venue and an additional ice hall in Lillehammer. Additional government guarantees were secured. 3 other locations bid for the Games: Östersund, Anchorage, and Sofia. The 94th IOC session, held in Seoul on 15 September 1988, voted Lillehammer the host for the Games. The Lillehammer Olympics were the last Winter Games to date to be held in a town, rather than be centered in a city. Organization. The overall responsibility for the Games was held by the Lillehammer Olympic Organizing Committee, which was created on 14 November 1988 and led by Gerhard Heiberg. It was reorganized several times with various subsidiaries, but from 1993 consisted of a single company owned 51% of Lillehammer municipality, 24.5% by the government of Norway and 24.5% by the Norwegian Olympic Committee. The government had issued a guarantee for the Games, and also covered the expenses related to infrastructure. The total costs of the Games were 7.4 billion Norwegian kroner, of which 0.95 billion Norwegian kroner was expenditure by the ministries, 4.48 billion Norwegian kroner was for operations and event expenses, and 1.67 billion Norwegian kroner was for investments. The Games had a revenue of 2.71 billion Norwegian kroner, of which 1.43 billion Norwegian kroner was from television rights, 0.65 billion Norwegian kroner was from sponsors, and 0.15 billion Norwegian kroner was from ticket sales. Production of the broadcasting, which costs 462 million Norwegian kroner, was the responsibility of the Norwegian Broadcasting Corporation, with assistance from the CTV television network and the European Broadcasting Union. NOK had 1,424 people working at the Olympics, while international broadcasters sent an additional 4,050 accredited broadcasting personnel. The transmission rights for the Games were held by EBU in Europe, CBS in the United States, NHK in Japan, CTV in Canada, the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, 9 Network in Australia, as well as other broadcasters in other countries. The total transmission rights price was $350 million United States dollars. In part, because of the Harding-Kerrigan affair, the viewership in the United States is still the highest ever for Winter Olympics. 460 million Norwegian kroner was used on information technology, with the main system running on an IBM S/400. 3,500 terminals were in use during the game based on the Info 94 system. It was the first Olympics to have terminals installed abroad. Seiko delivered the timekeeping devices. Telecommunications were delivered by Norwegian Telecom, including signal transmission. This included a mobile radio network with 9 base stations. Cost and cost overrun. The Oxford Olympics study established the outturn cost of the Lillehammer 1994 Winter Olympics at $2.2 billion in 2015 and cost overrun at 277% in real terms. This includes sports-related costs only, that is, operational costs incurred by the organizing committee for the purpose of staging the Games, and more, expenditures for technology, transportation, workforce, administration, security, catering, ceremonies, and medical services, and direct capital costs incurred by the host city and country or private investors to build, and more. The competition venues, the Olympic Village, International Broadcast Center, and Media and Press Center, which are required to host the Games. Indirect capital costs are not included, such as for road, rail, or airport infrastructure, or for hotel upgrades, or other business investment incurred in preparation for the Games, but not directly related to staging the Games. The cost and cost overrun for Lillehammer 1994 compares with costs of $2.5 billion and a cost overrun of 13% for Vancouver 2010, and costs of $51 billion and a cost overrun of 289% for Sochi 2014, the latter being the most costly Olympics to date. Average cost for Winter Games since 1960 is $3.1 billion. Average cost overrun is 142%. Opening ceremony. The opening ceremony was held at the ski jumping hill Lyskadsbakken. Artistic content was made to present a range of Norwegian culture, included Sami joik, telemark skiing, fiddlers and folk dancing, simulations of traditional weddings and their processions, and Veta, from Norse mythology. After speeches by Heiberg and IOC President Juan Antonio Samaranch, the Games were officially declared opened by King Harald V. The Olympic flame was to be skied down the ski jump before lighting the cauldron. Originally this task had rested upon Ole Gunnar Figestol, but after he was injured in a practice jump, his backup Stein Grubben received the honor. The cauldron was lit by Crown Prince Haakon Magnus. The Olympic oaths were issued by Vegard Ulvang for the athletes and Kari for the officials. Alpine skiing. Since the 1992 Games, the rules for combined changed, where the winner was determined by total time instead of points. The women's downhill was originally scheduled for Hafjell, but after protests it was moved to Kvitfjell, which also hosted the men's downhill and Super G. In the men's events, Germany's Marcus Wasmir won 2 disciplines, giant slalom and Super G. finishing ahead of the United States' Tommy Moe on the Super G Moe and the downhill ahead of Norway's Kjetil André Aamodt, who came in third in the Super G. Austria's Thomas Stangassinger won the slalom ahead of Italy's Alberto Tomba. In the combined, Norway took a medal sweep, with Lassek just winning ahead of Aamodt and Harald Christian Strand Nilsson. In the women's events, Switzerland's Vani Schneider was the most successful, winning the slalom, taking silver in combined and taking bronze in giant slalom. The only other athlete to take multiple medals was Italy's Isolde Kostner, who took a third place in both downhill and Super G. The downhill was won by Germany's Katja Siesinger, Super G by the United States' Diane Roff, the giant slalom by Italy's Deborah Campagnoni, and the combined by Sweden's Pernilla Wiberg. Biathlon. Russia and Germany split all the individual men's medals. In the 10 km sprint, Russia's Sergei Chebykov won ahead of Rico Gross, both with a clean sheet. Bronze winner Sergei Tarasov won the 20 km individual ahead of Germany's Frank Luck and Sven Fischer. Germany easily revenged itself by winning the 4x7.5 km relay ahead of Russia and France. In the women's class, Canada's Miriam Bedard won both the individual events, finishing ahead of Belarus' Svetlana Paramygina on the 7.5 km sprint, and ahead of France's Anne Briand on the 15 km individual. In the 4x7.5 km relay, the format since 1992 was changed from 3 to 4 participants. Russia, with a clean sheet, won ahead of Germany, who made 6 misses, with France taking the bronze. Bobsleigh. In two-man, Switzerland took the top 2 places, with Gustav Wedder, Dona Taklin winning 0.05 seconds ahead of Rito Gocci and Guido Acklin, who were again 0.15 seconds ahead of Italy's Günther Huber and Stefano Tixi placing third. In four-man, Germany too, consisting of Harald Sudage, Carsten Branasch, Olaf Hampel, and Alexander Selig, finished 0.06 seconds ahead of Switzerland I and 0.23 ahead of Germany I. Cross-country skiing. Participants from 5 countries took all the medals of the 10 events. Starting in 1994, the Olympics alternated which of the medium-distance and long-distance races had classical and freestyle. Men's 4x10 km relay was watched by a crowd of nearly 150,000. Norway, Italy, and Finland followed each other tightly for 3.5 rounds, with the second and third exchange of the 3 taking place within 1.1 seconds of each other. Finland fell behind in the end, and Norwegian Bjorn Dihli and Italian Silvio Forna battled to the end, with Italy beating Norway by 0.4 seconds. Dihli won the 10 km classical and 15 km pursuit, while taking silver in the 30 km freestyle. Kazakhstan's Vladimir Smirnov won the 50 km classical. In addition to silver in the 10 km and the 15 km, Norway's Thomas Alsgaard won the 30 km, while Finland's Mika Milaile took an individual silver and a bronze. Italy's Manuela Di Centa and Russia's Lyubov Yegorova dominated the women's events. They took 5 and 4 medals each, respectively, and between them winning all the races. Yegorova finished ahead of Di Centa on the 5 km classical and the 10 km pursuit, while Di Centa finished ahead of Yegorova on the 15 km freestyle, and also won the 30 km classical ahead of Norway's Marit Wold. Finland's Marja-Liisa Kurvasniemi took 2 bronze medals, in 5 km and 30 km. In the 4x5 km relay, Norway and Russia kept up with each other until the final stage, in which Anita Moen lost to Yegorova, with Italy finishing third. With Yegorova's 6th career gold, she was tied as the most winning Winter Olympic participant. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?